Okay, let's see if I can do a technical analysis like I would if I was on TikTok. Okay, I draw my trend line down. That's the trend that it was following. Okay, then it changed character a little bit and brought it down into about right here. And then it came from here to there. And then from there at the bottom to the trend that we're on right now. Okay, so you can see it's making a big curve over and coming back up. All right. Okay, if we turn on our buy sell signals, what you can see here is our trend line coming from the bottom up that I drew. All right, and if you zoom in, you can see that for the most part, it always bounces right on top and stays above that trend line. And as it is right now, you can see that we had our sell point. You got out like you did. Then we had a little bit of retracement, and now it's still working its way down. So we're still kind of looking for the bottom of after this sell point. We're waiting for it to curl back up and give us a buy point. And this obviously, if you look right here, you can see that on this short term, even though our EMA cross formed right here on May 8th and has been working our way up into a bullish pattern, it's dropped since last night around 9 o'clock or so and has been working its way down. You got out when you did. Fantastic. So now we're looking for that bottom. Really, we're looking for a 4-hour candle, a 4-hour chart here to give a buy signal, meaning it's come up and then we've had 2 green candles. As soon as we get 2 green candles, we could say that on the 4-hour, it has decided that it's going to come back up, and that's going to be our short-term bottom. Okay, on the 2-hour, well, it's already saying it's done it, but look, it came right back down. So that's kind of been nullified right there, and you have to kind of watch that right a bit. Okay, but you know, when you called me earlier on the 15 and 45, it was saying buy back in. On the 2-hour, it had not, and now it's given us probably, if anything, potentially a false signal. And so we're now looking for it to reevaluate and give it to us on the 4-hour. But we're going to have at least 2 green candles from wherever it bottoms out before our buy point is going to print saying, now I think we're getting close to saying that you could get back in. And then at that point, you might be able to say, well, oh, shoot, from where I got out, you know, I'm buying back in at 10% there. And so you'll gain 10% more holdings than you had before. Oh my gosh, that would be great. Now, that's great on the short term when you're doing something like that. But when you're looking long term, there's retracements and retracements and retracements that take place. And especially if you look at the weekly, you see it like this. We had a green candle, red candle, green candle, red candle, green candle, red candle. And the way the curl is and the trend line says, the next one ought to be what? I'm thinking it's going to be green. Okay, and so long term, it's a hold, and you have to endure these kind of freaky, oh my gosh, I dropped down. What you did is not bad, but you have to be able to now try to figure out where I can get back in. And you want to hope that you don't wait so long that you end up buying back in above your exit, because then that little percentage, whatever it was, would be considered a loss long-term hold. Okay, so speaking of long-term, on the weekly, from where we're at right now, back and forth a little bit because it is still continuing to drop right now. We're looking at potentially around 72% still to go, with a secondary potential of around 137% and maxed out probably at the top of 164% from where we're at now. Okay, and if you did get in around 55, which is what's making me think that you possibly did, then from there you had already gained the way you said it earlier, it might actually where you got out might have been around 62% or something like that. So getting close to 100, and then you kind of retraced and said, oh well, it wasn't 100%, but it was paying pretty close, and that's pretty nice. So you have the potential of getting back in, but I would wait a little bit for a 4-hour candle to provide to pop up here, which would be something like in the middle of the night though too. Okay, so you just have to kind of see. I can't necessarily give you the right time frame or whatever. I mean, I could text you at 4 o'clock in the morning if you want me to. But what I think we're looking for is, because it has dropped even more since I've tried to make this video 3 freaking times. And I keep failing on what I'm trying to say here. But the trend is down right now. And it could come down as low as, I suppose, if it hit the trend line, it could come down as low as around 71 cents. Then that would be a fantastic entry point right there. However, I don't think it's going to get quite that low. For some reason, I'm thinking our target area is somewhere right in here around 74 to 75 cents before it starts picking back up. And it actually could do that even sooner than that. Okay. Because on the 2-hour, it is now printing a buy point, but but on this last 2-hour candle, it has continued to drop here. So you have to wait for those buy signals to work their way up here. But just the same, on top of that, if you waited until the 1-day candle was to say buy back in, depending on when it is, you might find yourself that it came back up with 2 candles and brought it up to above your exit earlier in what would be earlier today. But I think it's going to be well below that right there, and hopefully, if so, you might be able to gain yourself from where you got out. I don't know where you got out, but maybe if you were lucky of it being around 88 cents to where it's at right now, you've got 8% gains that you could potentially buy back in. But if it does go down to around 75 cents, then you might be able to gain 14% more holdings than you had before, and then decide, you know what, I'm just going to let those consolidations and everything take place. Or you're not necessarily trading weekly, you're multi-day trading, looking for it ranging from swing highs to swing lows. And you can do that sort of thing, especially with something like Superverse, where you're not talking about only gaining just a couple of cents per token or coin. If you got 3,000 tokens and that's 3 cents, well, then that's 9,000 pennies. Okay, but if we're talking about swings of 75 cents or something like that times 3,000, holy crap. So I don't know what your position is or anything like that, but you definitely have the position of making some bank on Superverse. It's still got plenty to go. Long-term holding on for dear life, plenty of growth still to go. Again, looking at the weekly, this thing hasn't even gone bullish yet. Okay? On the weekly, it hasn't even gone bullish yet. It's on its way up still. All right. We'll talk to you later.